Hello and welcome to Long Beach Lens. I'm your host, Derek J. Simpson, Executive Director of the Long Beach Community Action Partnership. Today, we will be speaking with the founder and CEO of Anthelion Helicopters, Alex Schempt. Did I say that right, Alex Schempt?
Close enough, Derek. That's fine. That's fine.
If I hadn't mentioned it, no one would ever know.
That's all right. My father was French, so I forgive you. Don't worry.
See, I was trying to go there. Oui. So let's talk about Anthelion. And for those who aren't aware, first of all, what does the name mean, and how did you come up with that?
Interesting story, that one. Actually, we wanted to get a name that was very different to everything else. We didn't want to get into any intellectual property issues. Ironically, we know that today that's a big issue with lots of companies. So as a new company, we wanted to avoid all that. We actually wanted something very different so that people would ironically remember it because it's so different. They would be sort of curious about what it meant and how on earth do I say it and how do I spell it. Right. So I was kind of using reverse psychology with that. It's actually, the name is from Greek. When I was looking through words, I was looking up actually weather phenomena because it's related to aviation, thinking, what's some cool weather stuff? And a type of corona of the sun was called an Anthelion. It really means opposite the sun, with helion being the Greek for sun. Then I looked at the word and thought, oh, wow, cool. It has helicopter, heli, right in the middle of it, which I thought was cool. And then obviously my name's Alex. My business partner's name is Nina. So Alex and Nina were there as well, right at the beginning of it. So it all kind of came together, and we went from there.
Clearly it did. So you mentioned Nina, and that's your partner in this business, and she is an excellent pilot in her own right, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Nina Kiefer, she's my business partner. Absolutely fantastic pilot and instructor. A long commercial background in EMS, and she flew out in the Grand Canyon for a number of years. But a superb chief pilot, and I couldn't do the business without her. We're complete opposites in some ways, but absolutely the same when it comes to the way we want to run the business, the ethics that we have, our attention to safety and detail and customer service. So together, we are sort of a kind of a formidable team. She shouts at me sometimes, I shout at her sometimes, but at the end of the day, we always agree and we get the job done. Absolutely, it's a complete balance. It works out very well.
Yeah. Now let's go back to before you formed this company, how you were even introduced. I know when I was reading a bit about you, you were in the British Royal Navy, and you were working with the Ministry of Defense, but that wasn't really what inspired you to become a pilot. It was something here.
No, it's kind of a hokey story, actually, to be honest, how I actually became a pilot in the first place. I'd always been, as a kid, interested in anything to do with aviation. Originally, I was going to wanted to be a fighter pilot, and applied for the Royal Air Force back in England. But then they found out I had allergies, and they said, well, we don't want you sneezing at Mach 2 and pressing the gun, missile release by mistake, so you're out of that. But then I was actually reading a book, an adventure novel by an author called Clive Cussler, and there was a guy in there, one of the characters, who scuba dived, which I already did, and all these other outdoor things, but he also flew helicopters. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. And so I opened the Yellow Pages, which was back then was a big, thick old book that you could use as a doorstop, and went to helicopter schools. And the first one I came across was Alex Air, and I thought, it's fate. So I literally gave them a call up, went down to Lamita. I was living in Lamita, went down to Torrance and flew with them, and that was it. I was hooked. I remember in the parking lot looking up at that aircraft thinking, wow, if I can fly that one day, that'll be such an achievement. And, now 12, 13 years on, here I am.
Right. Now, in general, I know for here at Long Beach Community Action Partnership, I get all the credit and all the blame, but it's the team that really makes this agency and PatNet TV what it is. I know from a business perspective, you share similar ideas about the importance of having a strong team, and that's what you've created with your crew as well, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially in small businesses, you're only as good as your weakest link, certainly to start with. And I think for me as a CEO, acknowledging that I can't do certain things empowers me to want to bring the right people on, to surround myself with the right team. Obviously, myself and Nina are key to what we do, but we want the team around us. And I think it was a quote by Sir Richard Branson, I should say, saying if you take care of your employees and you have a strong team, then everything else will follow. And so we're been very careful about how who we pick and how we integrate them into the team, and we're like a big family. Those guys are your frontline staff. Those are the guys that make a difference. They're who the customers interact with every single day, and you know, you can't have a weak link there, and we don't. We take a great deal of time and effort to train our guys and girls and make sure that they're the best at what they do.
I know, and we're going to talk more about this as this particular program goes on. When our crew came out, we felt very welcome, and then there was one of your team members sleep underneath the desk.
Oh yes, yeah. We keep quiet about that one. That's the four-legged variety of team member.
The biggest, was it a pug?
It's a gigantic pug, yes. I'm going to get a treadmill just for him to lose some weight. But Benny is our our mascot, so to speak.
Him and I both will get on that treadmill. I think we both need to lose a few pounds after looking at the video we're going to show.
Oh, I know. You did very well. No, you did very well. But we use Benny to put drinks on. So
okay.
That, you know.
Okay. So let's talk about the experience. When I came to your location, I didn't know what I was coming into. I just knew that this was going to be a special opportunity for us. And I knew that I was going to have the opportunity to literally learn how to fly a helicopter. And but that's not all you do. You also do, in addition to the training, you have the opportunity for people to take tours. And I noticed there was a map on the wall of the various tours that one might be able to do. And then you also have the opportunity for people to get aerial photography, of some of which we're going to show from our own Angel here, who did some of that. But let's talk about the actual becoming a pilot. Is there a particular profile or not of someone, like you said, someone couldn't fly jets because of allergies? Is there any reason why someone shouldn't aspire to come and do a helicopter training?
No, absolutely not. I mean, it's part of my mission that I see, and especially with my passion for this company, is really educating people on the fact that anyone can do it. As long as you can pass a basic FAA medical, which is not that difficult, that anyone can fly. You know, our youngest student, I think, is 16 years old, and I've trained people up to their mid-70s. Wow. So, you know, male or female. Sometimes, honestly, the girls are better than the guys doing it because they're better at multitasking. And helicopters, as you found out, there's a lot of multitasking going on there.
I was just telling the guys about that. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we get a lot of young kids in because they soak up like a sponge. The knowledge just comes very, very easily to them. But I've also taken through, and myself and Nina and the company have taken through countless people who've, you know, they've always wanted to do it all their life, and now they've just got the opportunity to do it. It's the thing they want to tick off their list, regardless of whether they want to do it as a career. Some people don't. Some people just want to do it for fun. Some people start it for fun and then decide they really like it and want to do it as a career as well.
Yeah, so the staff here, the crew was asking me about the experience, and I said, you know, when you're on a roller coaster, it's designed to scare you out of your wits. But I didn't know what I've been up in, you know, stunt planes when I worked in TV years ago. But this experience with you it was kind of like you floated up in the air and then you floated along the freeway, and I was laughing with him saying, and it's the first time I ever went 102 miles an hour down Redondo Street.
Absolutely. I mean, I liken it to a magic carpet a lot of times because, you know, it's a big question for people. They're initially very nervous about going up in a helicopter because they've never done it, and they think, look down, they think, oh, that's, but. You know, and when you're actually up there, it feels very, very calm. The visibility is absolutely incredible. You get very used to being in an aeroplane with a porthole this big to look out of. And then you're suddenly in a giant fishbowl in the helicopter and you can see absolutely everything. You see the world in, I guess, 3 dimensions, for want of a better word. And
I was mentioning, you said that typically we, in our day-to-day lives, walk around looking at the world that we live in from a 2D-dimensional
point of view.
But up there it is 3D.
Absolutely, and you almost have to acclimatize your brain to think in those terms, and it's a completely, it's almost like a revolutionary experience, a revelation, whichever way you want to look at it, for your own mind. You get used to driving on the freeways and used to walking around, and then suddenly you've got to think about above and below at the same times as left and right. So.
Now we're going to kind of set the stage for a video that we were able to do with you, and one of the first steps is not necessarily getting in the helicopter, but filling out some paperwork and then going through the simulator. So can you kind of set the stage for what one would do when they walk in and get into the simulator? What's the point of that?
So the simulator was really our way of enhancing the experience because, you know, your first time in a helicopter, there's a lot going on, and it's very easy to get overloaded with the controls and the instructor talking at you as well. So to start with, the simulator is there to teach you the basics, so that by the time you get into the helicopter, you've already learned the basics of the controls. You already know what to expect. Just enables, we think, for our customers to get a much better experience out of the aircraft, so they're not so overwhelmed by the experience to start with, and they can actually enjoy it more. But during the simulator, which you saw, we have to do a safety briefing, which is actually is a legal requirement by the FAA for all Robinson helicopters. Robinson being just built over in Torrance, we use all their aircraft.
Oh, okay.
But there are just safety aspects of the aircraft, just to make you aware of certain aspects of these type of aircraft, which we have to brief you on. And it also just gives you a bit more introduction as to how do these things fly? What do they do? What makes them go up? What makes them go down? What makes them go left, right, and forward and up all at the same time? So it just makes, like I said, it gives you a better experience, more wholesome experience of what to expect on the flight. So it all makes more sense when you're up there in the air, regardless of how overwhelmed you are at the time. But you did very well.
Yeah. Well, thanks to you. Though it was interesting that in the simulator, I found a way to try to park the helicopter in someone's garage.
You did. You put it through someone's front door nearly. Yes.
At least we did it in the simulator, and not while we were up in the air. So what we're going to do is, for those who are watching this particular show, show them how I took my first helicopter training with Alex here, and then how we got to see a bit of Long Beach in the process as well. Watch this. There are 3 helicopters on the ground, and your fleet is a total of 5, you were saying earlier,
yes, 5 helicopters, yeah.
And you started out with 1.
That one right there.
And it's the one right behind us that we're going to see.
Right there, yes. Yes. People always look at it and think, that flies? That's so small. It's so small.
Right. And when I walk up to here, what are we looking at inside?
So basically there's three controls with the helicopter. Right. One of them is going to control actually the movement of the helicopter forward, backwards, side to side. Another one's going to control going up and down. Another one's going to control yaw, which is this movement, this side to side. And the trick is, which you'll find today when we're up on the flight, is putting all of those 3 controls together. So you're trying to use your feet and the pedals, you're trying to move this left hand on the collective, and you're trying to do the cyclic at the same time. And keep us in a straight line, which I'm sure you'll do really, really well.
Got it.
Good stuff. All right, so now we're sitting here. So if you want to put your left hand here, and your right hand lightly on the cyclic. Now, we're just on the ground. If you want to start pulling your left hand up, all right, gradually keep pulling up, see it wanting to turn? All right, so a little bit of back on the cyclic. Good, pull up a little bit more. Keep pulling up. A little bit of right pedal now as well. You see we're rotating to the right. There you go, not too much. Keep pulling up. All right, a little bit back on the cyclic. There you go, you're taking off. Actually, when we're in the aircraft, we're going to take each of these controls individually as well, so you don't get overwhelmed by it. And the flip again, is that because of... That's because you're going too far on the right. Now we're nosediving. Now we're going to be part of the scenery. How do I get out? House right there, right? We're going straight into your house there.
I wanted to park in the garage.
Yep, like I said, just keep clear of everything until we're going, and I'll tell you when you can flip the controls.
Oh, very subtle.
Very subtle indeed, isn't it?
Yeah. What a view.
What a view indeed, right? So, 700 feet right now. Traveling around about 100 miles an hour, give or take.
Wow, so feels like
feels like you're going really slow, doesn't it? Right? So we're just going to take a turn here, because obviously the wind direction is going to change a little bit now, but we should be good. All right. Now, if you want to put your left hand down on the collective.
Right.
All right. So you see right now, this says at about 19 right now, 1920, right? That's the power we've got. So if you want to push down on it a little bit to about 17, then see what happens. You see this here? This is our vertical speed indicator. We're now going down 500, 600 feet a minute. All right, now the fun one, right? Now you're going to have a go at this. So take that very gently in your right hand. Ease it over to the right like a joystick. Right, you see? It started to bank.
Right.
And now it will start to turn. It will start to pull itself around the turn. Good. That's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
There's the Queen Mary. And you want to always have enough altitude for in case of an engine failure.
Right.
So I don't tend to go below 700 feet. Back with your right hand. You're going to steer us in a straight line up to Belmont here, and we're going to turn up Redondo Avenue and start your turn inbound. Yeah, there you go, good. Turn it more, just see how it does, how it performs. Yeah. Good job. Awesome job. So just fly to the tower, then I'm going to take over from you. You've got all three controls now. Your feet are on the pedals, you've got the collective, you've got the cyclic. You're doing the flying. Okay, just keep us in a straight line, you're doing good.
Alex, man, what a view. If I had an office with a view like that, I'd never want to leave, leave work,
That's why we'll do what we do every day.
Right.
But you did really well, Derek. You did really, really well. You had all three controls, you're flying smoothly, no jerkiness, which sometimes we see. You're really smooth. You make a good pilot.
Well, thank you. And you said, actually, when I signed the paperwork, the time that we use actually would go towards being a pilot if I ever wanted to do that.
That 20 minutes was your first 20 minutes towards your private license. That counts. So now you've got 39 and a half hours roughly to go.
There you go.
You can go for your license.
I just want to thank you for everything you did to help us feel comfortable and sharing the story about what you do here and how the community can become more involved and how you want to be involved in the community.
Yes, absolutely.
And on behalf of Long Beach Community Action Partnership and PatNet TV, thank you, man.
Pleasure.
What'd you think?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Actually sound really strange on TV, but...
So maybe you sound strange, but I look strange, man. Talk about me and your four-legged friend. We're getting on that treadmill soon. So, Alex, when you look at that and you see that view, I mean, that's your life every day. As I said, I'd never want to leave the office, but...
Absolutely. No, I have the flying office. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so much to see in Long Beach that I always find it funny when we take people up who've lived in Long Beach the whole life, and they're like, they look down and think, wow, I've never seen that before. You know, and we get to see such a different perspective of Long Beach and the harbour and the whole of LA that it's, you know, it's a unique experience that everyone should see.
Now, for me, learning to fly, I mean, first of all, you made it very comfortable in the process, and I know that other 39 and a half hours is going to be a lot more intense, I'm sure, especially when I'm doing it for myself.
Yes, absolutely.
But one thing I noticed was how subtle the movements are, and then the instrumentation and all. But can you speak to that? How does that gradually is something you get acclimated to as you go about it?
If you think about a conscious mind only really controls about 10% of our brain, really. You know, our subconscious is about 90% of it. And a lot of flying, especially, is controlled by your subconscious, especially that muscle memory. You said I was very small on the movement, and we call it flying with our fingers. What you'll find is that you automatically just adjust to it. You know, the first lesson you think, oh my Lord, this is so difficult. And then suddenly about 3 or 4 hours later, you're doing it without even thinking about it. And suddenly, you know, your subconscious has kicked in and you're suddenly flying and you're doing it all yourself. So the rate that you learn is exponential with it. And ironically, the more that you don't think about it, the easier it becomes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and would it be a scenario where if there's in fact 40 hours that are minimum, if they weren't catching on, they would just keep going until they felt
absolutely. I mean, you know, because we're very experienced instructors, and we're, you know, obviously flying a helicopter is difficult, but the real skill is actually teaching. And so we recognize how different people learn at different rates, and different people have certain difficulties with certain things. So we identify those early on and we address them so that, you know, we'll always aim to get someone through in the shortest amount of time possible. But our primary goal is to make you a safe and proficient pilot. We're not there to get you through a test. We're there to make you safe and make you the best that you can be.
Who are the typical clients that would come in for training versus the tours versus photography? And I know that's three separate clientele, but just kind of walk us through for those who might be curious.
Well, ironically, a lot of the people we get for one thing, they go on to another. So we do get a lot of people that come in for tours who, you know, it's a complete cross-section of people who are visiting LA, people who are residents, people who come for a birthday, an anniversary. whatever really. But a lot of them, when they're sitting in the back, they're looking at the front thinking, ooh, how do I do that?
Right.
And they look at what we do, and then they're suddenly interested in going and doing a flight demo because they see how it works. Now that looks really cool and really fun.
Yeah.
And so they sign up there. In terms of the demos themselves and the people who actually want to fly, some people have always wanted to do it. Other people get it as a birthday gift or a Christmas gift. It's one of those things when you can't think about what to buy for someone, give them a helicopter lesson. I mean, that's pretty unique. You're not going to find a better gift than that.
Not only is it unique, I mean, the crew was asking me about the experience, but unlike a roller coaster where it's designed to scare you out of your wits, this was something where once you get over that initial fear of, oh my God, I'm going to be in a helicopter, it's really pretty incredible experience, I must say. And I'm not one to just want to stand on the edge of a building and look over, but when you're up there, you are looking out of a glass. And the door, I noticed, was about as thick as my jacket. So everything is designed to be lightweight.
Absolutely.
And yet there you are just zooming through the air. Yeah. So yes, for any sort of experience like that that's unique, as friends of mine come to town, I'm definitely going to recommend it because what a way to see LA.
Oh, absolutely, and that comes to our new a lot of aerial photography that we're doing. We're really taking advantage of the social media, and Instagram's been a huge help for us.
Wow.
When people start posting really cool shots, absolutely, of downtown LA and the Hollywood side and all the different other stuff that we do, and that starts generating interest among the community. And that makes people want to come in and do it again.
Let's talk about that because I know we sort of went like literally, and you said this is how you guys do it. You follow land signs.
Yes,
so we took the 405 to the 710 and banked down the beach and then came up Redondo. So you follow landmarks.
We do.
So you have that tour, and then you have one that goes up to LA and to Hollywood.
Yes, we have actually about 10 different tours depending on where you want to go. The shortest is an extension of what you did, which pretty much goes out to the 710 and around the harbour, over to the Vincent Thomas Bridge over that area, then back down to the Queen Mary and downtown, along to Belmont Pier and back in on the Redondo. Whereas the longest one goes all the way down to Huntington Beach, but all the way up to Pacific Palisades as well, the other direction, then to Universal Studios and downtown LA, and lasts about an hour and 20 minutes. And everything in between. It really depends on what you want to see, what your budget is, and usually we get people coming back for more. If they start on a little one, and then they think this is really cool, and they want to go and see the Hollywood sign next or something else.
And there were three of us. I mean, it was Angel and I as crew, and there was an empty seat, so it could be upwards of 3 people.
Absolutely, and we have multiple aircraft, so we can always take larger groups, and we can two helicopters, 3 helicopters side by side if needs be, which is kind of cool because you can see your friends in the other one as you're flying along. We'll be debuting a charter division soon this year, so we'll be able to start flights out to places like Catalina and wineries and things like that, which will be really fun as well, and more things for people to do.
Now, I know that for those who are the romantics, that there was a special community collaboration that you put together too, like land, sea, and air type deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess this is
kind of fun.
Part of my role as an entrepreneurial business owner. I want to try and think of outside the box, different things that we can do with the aircraft.
Right.
And through my affiliation with the Long Beach CVB, who have been a fantastic organisation to work with, I met the owner of Gondola Getaways, and we thought about, wait a minute, why can't we put these together? Why can't you go flying in the air, then flying on a gondola, and going in a gondola at the same time with maybe a limo in the middle, so that you effectively do land, sea, and air. The perfect date, as it were. You start out on the helicopter, then you go in the limo, have a glass of champagne, then go for a romantic gondola ride down at Naples afterwards. Doesn't get much better than that.
So for those guys who are looking to get engaged or just looking for that right moment, that might be the perfect thing.
Anniversaries for engagements, just that special
I'm winking
Friday
at
night.
people on the crew who might need that advice later on in life. I don't know. You've been in this business for a while, and you've seen a lot and done a lot, and I know we talked about different things that you like and don't like about the industry, but what do you see from your perspective? Because, well, let me first say, you mentioned that if you can fly in the LA County area, you can fly pretty much anywhere. Explain that first.
Yeah, I mean, LA is pretty much one of the busiest airspaces in the world. When you look at all of the different airports we've got around
not
here.
the United States.
No, in the world. When you look at just the sheer number of airports around here, people just think of the big ones like LAX or John Wayne or Ontario or Burbank. But then there's so many cities around here with airports as well. I mean, obviously Long Beach is a fairly big one. Santa Monica's got an airport. Hawthorne's got an airport. You know, Compton's got an airport, and the list keeps going. And when you add all of these together with in a pretty congested area, you get some very, very busy airspace, which is actually one of the reasons we train here. You know, if you can learn here in LA, you can fly anywhere. If you can deal with the complexity of the air traffic control, the radios, the navigational side of it, it sets you up to be able to really fly anywhere else is easy compared to here. So like I said, you know, a fantastic airspace to fly and very challenging, but it produces very good pilots at the end of the day.
I would imagine so, because you're training in the toughest areas.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, you mentioned collaborations among businesses that are like-minded, and you with the CVB. What about with others in the community? If there's someone watching this particular show, whether it be a nonprofit or a restaurant or anyone else, are you and your colleagues open to those types of ideas as well?
Absolutely. I mean, as small businesses, we have to be. I mean, Long Beach is a fantastic city and actually quite a big city. And collaborations is how we grow. You know, I'm certainly always open to any ideas, absolutely. You know, I really would like to get involved in the internship program here in Long Beach. Okay. You know, I have so many projects coming up that I could really do with, you know, a very, very competent intern who is doing a business or marketing degree who would like to help out in a new company, especially in aviation. Okay. But things like restaurants, I mean, we can do. We're just about to start a collaboration with another company to use us as giveaways for their. They do lots of raffles all the time and lots of prize givings, and so to give away a helicopter tour, it attracts a lot of people.
We have to think about that for our special event.
Oh, I mean, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, what was I thinking? I was thinking about flying a helicopter instead of getting a gift certificate.
Yeah, and golf ball drops as well. We do golf ball drops for lots of charities, which is fun.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
Now, we only have less than 2 minutes. Your vision going forward for you and the industry, in 30 seconds, what would that be?
Wow, that's a big one. 30 seconds, that's a tough one. I mean, a big thing for us, like I said before, is we're expanding our flight school at the moment, maybe looking at satellite operation as well, but just really securing the brand there, enhancing our tours, offering more tours, getting a wider reach with those, but also coming into the charter side of it. You know, like I said, we should be debuting our charter this year, and that will enable us to really open up the services that we offer. Aerial photography is a huge one for us as well. We think there's a huge market out there for people who want to learn aerial photography, people who love photography but want to learn how to shoot from a helicopter and all the things that can offer. And like I said, so a lot of different things that we're looking at doing. For me personally, it's about education. You know, I know that I stumbled across helicopters, but a lot of people out there, they really don't have an idea of how to start. They think you have to be in the military or you need a degree to start helicopters, but you can just walk in there, and as long as you have the will, you can do it.
We're out of time. And I got to come back and get my other 39 and a half hours.
Absolutely,
so don't go away.
You're close.
That concludes our show. I'd like to thank Alex for joining us today. Be sure to follow PatNet TV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest updates. This show has been brought to you with support from the Long Beach Community Action Partnership. Thank you for watching Long Beach Lens.